you're going to be tuning into this weekend's fight, here's a tip. Check out my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Upgrade your fight experience this weekend with the official sports betting partner of UFC. Are you new to DraftKings? Check this out. New customers that bet just $5 will instantly get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings is giving new customers a shot to get in on the action all night long. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy where you have the chance to win cash prizes. Don't miss out on all the action this week at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app today. Sign up using dkng.co/Sonnen or through my promo code SONNEN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The approach to a fight reveals almost everything. And Israel Adesanya has to have an ingredient, right? Everybody needs something. Israel has got to have a personal problem. He has to. It drives him and motivates him more than money, more than championship. That has been proven. One of the great case studies, if you want us to understand Israel Adesanya, was him fighting Yoel Romero. Yoel was coming off a loss and was not the guy. Not to mention, he's an Olympic wrestler from Cuba taking on the tall, skinny kickboxer from New Zealand. Like, this is the world's worst matchup. He's not going to make a lot of money. There's not going to be a lot of press. That's not a fight people are dying to see. And he's likely going to hand over his title. Like, if we've learned anything since 1993, and he demanded it. He told Dana, I don't care about his ranking and his law. I got into this sport because there's some guys I want to fight, and don't let my championship hold me back from my dreams, right? This is what he had to tell Dana. Don't let my success hold me back from what I want to do. I want to fight him. You don't think he qualifies for a title fight? Don't put the title up. Give me him. Dana, nobody ever said this to Dana before. That made sense. To Dana, that made sense. He gave him the fight. But you have to understand that fight or you will not get Israel Adesanya. You will not get it. When you look at his fight with Sean Strickland, and so many want to give an analysis, go, hey, what went wrong that night? What was different that night? I found out Israel had a couple of beers a couple weeks before. I guess his head wasn't in the game. No. You don't know if Israel had beers before his other fights. You don't know anything about that. What you do know is he never had a personal problem with Sean Strickland. He wanted one. He tried to get it, but he just didn't. Not to mention Sean was ranked number 6. They had not gone outside of the top 5 for a title challenger in a period of time. It was a short notice fight. Israel was a 6-1 favorite in his backyard against a guy not in the top 5. Who, by the way, lost to a common opponent just recently in Piera, and who, by the way, wasn't the scheduled opponent. And Israel wanted to get upset. He wanted to get mad. He tried to work himself up. He couldn't get there. It wasn't real. It wasn't there. It was the ingredient that was missing. As a matter of fact, Israel was offered a rematch with Sean Strickland. That's the fight that Dana went with. Before we ever had the Chimaev and Kamaru number 1 contenders match, before we insert DDP, and Izzy said no. And it wasn't a lack of competitor in him. It wasn't being tired with the sport. He didn't have a problem with Sean. He didn't want to fight Sean. He didn't want to not fight him. He didn't want to fight him. He needs that. Everybody needs something. And I'm sharing that with you, right? Like, you've got to understand what was on the line the night that Izzy took on Yoel. That was not a huge fight. Like, of the numbers Izzy done, that one is near the bottom. I think it is the absolute last for title fights that he's ever had, but it's near the fight. It just wasn't the fight that people wanted to see. That's where I tell you that everything was to be risked. Everything. But he did not care. That is not what it's about for him that night. And he proved it. It's not just something you say to sound like a scary guy, sound like your Kaiser Swarse. He went out and did it and never even got credit for it. He would fight Du Plessis. I firmly believe they didn't have to bring in the belt. They could scratch the belt still. DDP could miss weight and it's not for the belt. Izzy would show up. Just by example, I'm sharing with you, this has what he needs. This has what makes Izzy tick. Izzy, while losing decisively and in his own realm of striking to Sean Strickland for 25 minutes. The idea behind that he wasn't there, he wasn't dedicated. I will just share with you, you simply can't go 25 minutes, whether it's favoring the other guy or not. Whether the other guy is putting out a better 25 than your 25, you can't even go the 25. If you're not focused, if you're not in the gym, you can't switch that one night locker room. I'll go out and do it. It's not like that. You don't have a choice. That preparation is very real. That dedication and those efforts were in there or they weren't. And they were. Even if there was an underperformance, there was an underperformance. You see, it's such a big deal how Izzy worked to get the Yoel fight that no one even knows that story and no one really cares. But that's not why he fights. Those big arenas, they don't affect him. He's got the record. He fought Whitaker for the $57,000 for his biggest prize ever at that time and won, but it didn't affect him. He didn't feel it. In fact, he even did a dance to the ring with some old junior high buddies. That's not what he's there for. It wasn't about the championship. It's not. It's personal. Fighting is very personal. People will tell you that you shouldn't involve emotion. I don't really know why they say that. I do get some of the down effects to it, but it's not true and it's not real. It's very personal. It's a very personal thing, and finding that right opponent for Izzy isn't about style. It's about, does he want to fight that set the money aside, set the pay-per-views aside, and set the title aside. Does he want to fight that person? That ingredient has to be there, and he's always been careful in his career to make sure that it is. Israel Adesanya, better than anybody, has never left that octagon without letting us all know who's next. Nobody has steered their own career, and I mean, it's not even close. Nobody has steered their own career like Izzy. But the formula is also the same. While he's got the audience, and he's got them right in his hand, he tells them. Those headlines and media comes out, like the laws of attraction are real. Whether you want to deny the book The Secret or not, the laws of attraction are still real, and I'm sharing this with you because you want to know what else? He never called out Sean Strickland. He never said, Sean Strickland, you're next. It was the one break in the style, the one break of the system, the one break in the formula of the great Israel Adesanya. Is Strickland wasn't the guy. It wasn't the guy he identified. It wasn't the guy he challenged. It wasn't the guy that he promised. It was a guy that he agreed to. That's different. It's very different. And I only offer you that because that performance and or that outcome, like there's things that you could point to. There's reasons that you could point there and say, okay, here's what was missing. But it's not missing with DDP. It's there. And there are questions from Izzy, for sure. Turning down the title fight with Sean, taking his time to come back. Not rushing and getting there for 300. Saying at one point that he's done. Don't call me for 5 years. And when I come back, I'm going to box anyway. I mean, it was one of these things where it appeared that he took his oars out of the water. But his teammates, guys like Dan Hooker that see him every day, they tell a different story. It was one about dedication, but there was something that Izzy wants. And there was something that he needs. And he learned that in the Sean Strickland fight. And how good and strong and powerful he is without that ingredient, right? It was his kryptonite. And he wasn't going to come back and he wasn't going to rush, and there wasn't any amount of money or any amount of titles. In fact, you can keep the money, you can keep your titles. I need something else. I need a guy that I want to fight. It's exactly what he has in DDP Saturday.